Now, like we did before when we built out our product display block, we're going to base this view on two different types of entities, so you can see how to build it out both ways. The first time, we're going to base it on the blog entry node type, and the second time, we're going to base it off of users. Like I just mentioned, I think the most sustainable approach is going to be to base it off of users, but we'll go through both because it's possible that you could run into each as you work on other sites that aren't necessarily yours. I'm going to jump back to the browser and let's go to views. So I'm going to go to structure, views, and I'm going to click add new view. For the view name, we're going to call it about the author, blog entry based, so we know clearly which about the author block we're working with later when we have multiple versions of it. For show, we're going to show content. Even though we're showing user information, this view is going to be based on a node type, of type, and we're going to go ahead and select blog entry for now. There's only going to be one piece of information, so we don't need to worry about sorted by. And this is going to be a block, so we can uncheck create a page and check create a block. We're going to name this block about the author and remove this blog entry based. This block title should be about the author in order to match up with our wireframes. So we'll go ahead and remove the last part. We'll display this format as an unformatted list like we did before, and we'll set this up to use fields. And we only want to display one item, and we'll move on to the next screen by pressing continue and edit. So just like we did before, we need to create a contextual filter in order to tell our view what node page we're on. So I'll click advanced, and I'll click add under contextual filters, and we're going to do a search for NID, just like we did before. I'll check content NID and click apply all displays. Now, just like before, we're going to provide a default value because we're not passing this contextual filter as an argument in the URL. The type is going to be content ID from URL. Again, if that sounds confusing, watch the earlier video where we set up the product display block in the sidebar when we set this up initially. This content ID is actually in the URL, but it's not an argument appended to the end of it. So we have to use this provide default value. Okay, I'm going to scroll down, and that should give us the context that we need. I'll click apply all displays. And now let's test this out by getting a couple of node IDs for our blog entries. I'm going to open up our content page in a new tab, and I'm going to hover over how macaroni is made. If we look at the URL in the lower left-hand corner, it says node/19. So 19 is the node ID for this. And then we have the next one here, which has a node ID of 18. So we'll work with 18 and 19. So 18 is Jones, 19 is Betty Davis. We'll try to remember that. I'm going to jump back to our view that we're building. And let's scroll down and put in our contextual filter and see what displays. I'm going to click Update Preview. Okay, so you see that we have about the author, which is the title for our block, but we don't see any results here. Can you figure out why? Okay, you might want to pause and give it a thought for a moment, but I'm going to dive into explaining what's going on here. So by default, when we created this view, it added the filter criteria content published. Now, when we imported our blog entries, it followed suit with the default settings that we set for the content type, part of which was setting it as unpublished. So we actually need to go through and publish all of our blog entries in order for them to display in our views. So I'm going to jump over to our content page again, and you see here, for every blog entry, we have a status of not published. So let's check all of the blog entries, and then we'll publish them all in one fell swoop. Okay, that should be them all. Under update options, we have published selected content selected already. So I'll click update. And now if we go back to the view and we scroll down and we click update preview, we'll see the title of our blog entry. Are you a geek? No, you're not. And if we type 19 here, we should see the next entry, which was how macaroni is made. Okay, great.